Born on Droman Kos under the birth name Veridum, Darth Malgus rose to prominence under the apprenticeship of Lord Vindican, and proved himself as one of the most capable Sith warriors of his day. In the year 3681 BBY, Malgus, alongside his master Vindican, launched an attack on the Republic over the Sith homeworld Korriban. Once on board the Republic's orbital space station, Malgus and Vindican would engage Jedi Battlemaster Chaos Indirak and his apprentice Satil Shan. During the fight, Shan would escape, Vindican was wounded, and Indirak was slain by Malgus. After the battle, Malgus murdered Vindican and assumed the title of Darth for himself. Over the following decade, Darth Malgus led the Sith Empire to victory on multiple worlds, even including Alderaan itself. During the Republic's recapture of Alderaan, Malgus faced off against Satil Shan once again. However, this time, Shan got the upper hand and Malgus was nearly crippled. After being cybernetically repaired, Malgus led a Sith strike team to attack the Jedi Temple, where Malgus would butcher many Jedi, including the renowned Jedi Master Ben Zalo. After the attack, Malgus was infuriated when he learned that the Sith were trying to make peace with the Republic, believing that peace was a lie. After the supposed death of Emperor Vitiate, Malgus attempted to gain as many followers as possible and take the throne, and claiming titles as Malgus the Betrayer and the False Emperor. Malgus would be defeated by a Republic strike team and frozen in carbonite by the Eternal Empire, led by the former Emperor Vitiate. After the Jedi and Sith restarted in their conflict, Malgus would make his return to the galaxy to fight the Republic once again. Anya Kuro was a respected, if somewhat controversial, Jedi Master. Initially a Jedi Seeker used to find Force-sensitive children for the Order, Kuro would later become one of the main instructors at the Jedi Temple, training such notables as Ki-Adi-Mundi, Aurra Sing, and Asherat Het. While her methods were questioned by the Jedi Council, they were ultimately banished after Kuro's Padawan, Aurra Sing, turned to the dark side and became a psychotic, bloodthirsty bounty hunter and Jedi killer. Feeling responsible, Anya Kuro left the temple and self-exiled herself on Covering 5, until the Clone Wars, when she helped Jedi Master Thulm and Jedi Knight Aayla Secura in an attempt to defeat her former apprentice Sing. After the execution of Clone Order 66, Kuro would return to Covering 5 and go back into exile for nearly a decade before being located and confronted by Darth Vader. After a lengthy battle, Kuro was subsequently defeated by Vader. She would transcend the physical plane and live on as a Force spirit, telling Vader that he could turn back to the light and he wasn't trapped with the dark side forever. Almost a decade later, Anya Kuro would be proven correct. Darth Malgus was a human male, roughly in his late 50s by the time of the Republic strike team against him. Malgus was one of the most physically adept combatants of his day. His strength was such that he easily overpowered the defenses of fully trained Jedi and could even lift and strangulate fully grown men, such as when he strangulated Lord Adros and several Jedi during the attack on Coruscant. Despite being very large and strength-oriented, Malgus's agility was not hampered in the slightest, as he was able to match the speed of both Ben Zalo and Satil Shan both renowned speed fencers. However, what made Darth Malgus as great as he was his tolerance for pain. This man has tanked bolts of force lightning, several RPGs, took a grenade to the face, and was later buried alive under a mountain, and continued to kill 2 fully trained Jedi with little difficulty, and went for an exceedingly long period of time without medical treatment. After his reconstruction, Malgus was forced to wear a respirator mask. While the mask wasn't a huge target, unlike someone like Darth Vader or Darth Plagueis to a lesser extent, the mask wasn't a huge handicap, and he could still fight just as good as if he had it without it. Anya Kuro was a human female, and during the Clone Wars, I would say she was in her early to mid-80s. Based on this exceedingly old age, it comes to no surprise that she was not in her physical prime. However, despite her old age, Anya Kuro was still able to perform exceedingly well in combat, not letting her old age get the better of her. She showed high levels of speed and agility in combat, able to outmaneuver even the likes of Darth Vader to the point where she disarmed him. She was tough enough to survive being buried alive for several hours under a huge pile of rubble, and only took a few days in a bacta tank before going out into war again. Her strength was capable, but nothing to write home about, as she was overwhelmed by the broad of Darth Vader. Overall, Anya Kuro was in considerable shape for a woman of her years, and one to not be taken lightly. This is almost pathetically easy to call, though I will of course elaborate. While both are human, Malgus dominates in strength, which Kuro has demonstrated to be somewhat weak against, and level of durability does not compare. While I see Kuro having the speed advantage, it's only a minor edge, since Malgus himself is very agile and can and has dealt with opponents of similar speed levels as Kuro, such as Ven Zalo and Satele Shan, so it's not really that big of an advantage. In short, Malgus has all the odds stacked in his favor, and Kuro only gets the pleasure of not dying instantly. Darth Malgus gets the physical edge. Darth Malgus was indisputably one of the most effective Sith warriors of his generation, proving his skill with the blade by defeating Jedi Battlemaster Kaosin Darach and the highly skilled Swordmaster Ven Zalo. He even forced the future Grandmaster Satele Shan to defeat him through power and the Force after destroying her lightsaber. While Malgus's chosen lightsaber forms haven't been confirmed, we have more than enough information to make an educated guess. Malgus fought with brute strength power attacks and defensive counterattacks, strongly emphasizing Form 5, Xian/Djem So. Developed in answer to the lacking offense of Form 3, Form 5 was developed to turn defense into attack, using defensive parries backed up by swift strength-based counterattacks and power attacks. The form had 2 variants, Xian and Djem So. Xian was geared for blaster deflection, using targeted deflection and swift counterattacks. Djem So was designed for lightsaber dueling, using heavy power attacks and quick counters. Malgus used brute strength to overwhelm his opponents and break their defenses to end their life, such as how he killed Jedi Battlemaster Kaosin Darach. However, when his opponents were able to contend with this style and counter the Dark Lord's powerful strikes, Malgus would start breaking the rules of the engagement to suit his needs, such as how he changed his approach against Satil Shan and how he tricked Venzalo into overextending. However, effective as Malgus was, his style did carry some flaws. His emphasis on overpowering his enemies with brute force did come at the extent of skill, such as when Venzalo broke through his guard and punched him in the face. Malgus also had massive tunnel vision problems, such as when he was caught off guard by Republic soldier Jace Malcolm and hit by a grenade to the face during his fight with Satil Shan on Alderaan. While not ranked among the all-time greats of her era, Anya Kuro was still, without a doubt, a highly skilled fighter and an expert lightsaber duelist. Although her chosen lightsaber form was never confirmed in any source, we have more than enough evidence to make an educated guess. She demonstrated a heavy use of speed and agility in her style, which makes me believe that she was a practitioner of Form 4 Ataru. Also known as the Way of the Hawkbat, Ataru is a fast-paced and aggressive lightsaber style. It was based on the use of flamboyant blade work coupled with acrobatics and using the entire body as a weapon. Kuro was also skilled in the use of Dun Mok, a use of psychological warfare, which she would use to weaken her enemies' minds and open them up for attack. When on the offense, Kuro would attempt to outmaneuver and overwhelm her adversaries and either disarm them or kill them outright, while using Dun Mok to weaken her opponent's mind and weaken their morale. Defensively, Kuro would use tactical retreats and counterattacks to keep fighting even though she was on the defense. As good of a swordmaster as Anya Kuro was, she was not without her flaws. Age could affect her style, and when backed into a corner with no way of counterattack or put under pressure by strength-oriented power duelists, she could get into trouble very quickly. This one is rather tricky to call. While Anya Kuro is not ranked amongst the best of her era like Malgus, she is still a highly gifted swordswoman and a credible challenge for Malgus. I would even make the argument that Kuro is a more skilled swordswoman in a technical sense. But in terms of effectiveness, Malgus is the guy to get the job done right. While the argument could be made that Kuro could disarm Malgus the same way she disarmed Darth Vader, it must be taken into consideration that Kuro was only able to do this due to having a massive speed advantage over Vader, an advantage she doesn't have against Malgus. I actually found many similarities between Anya Kuro and Master Venzalo in regards to their lightsaber technique and style. Both are agile speed fencers whose technique is to completely overwhelm their adversaries with speed and agility, while also more than willing to break the rules of the engagement to gain the advantage. But similar to Zalo, Malgus is also willing to break those rules for himself, and just like Zalo, Kuro would make a fatal mistake and pay with her life for it. Darth Malgus gets the edge as a martial artist and lightsaber duelist. Darth Malgus was one of the most renowned Force wielders of his day, and one of the most powerful Sith Lords in his era. Malgus's use of Force augmentation allowed him to enhance his already potent strength, agility, and pain tolerance to the superhuman levels. In the realm of telekinesis, Malgus was blunt but powerful. He used telekinetic pushes and shoves to blast his opponents into submission, force-based strangulation to violently choke out his opponents, skill-based saber throws to outmaneuver faster opponents, and telekinetic deflections to push aside powerful missiles and rockets, and draw on his power to cocoon himself in a force shield to protect him from anything that got through. In terms of telepathy, Malgus was spotty at best, able to do basic mind tricks, and that's about it. Malgus was skilled in Force Scream, which allowed him to amplify his voice to the point that he could shatter the area around him. In the realm of energy-based powers, Malgus was a practiced hand in the use of Force Lightning, able to disintegrate several Jedi during the attack on Coruscant simultaneously. Malgus was a capable hand in the use of Tutaminis, which allowed him to block and redirect bolts of energy such as blasters and even Force Lightning. Perhaps Malgus's most powerful Force ability was the Force Maelstrom. When used, the power would grant a protective bubble around the user and would fire extreme levels of Force Lightning and telekinesis to shatter the area. Anya Kuro was one of the most unorthodox light-side Force wielders of her day, even able to perform feats that even Jedi Council Masters could not. In the realm of Force-based physical augmentation, Kuro was exceptional, allowing her to bring her agility to the superhuman levels of all trained Jedi. Her use of telekinesis is surprisingly unknown. However, she has proven she can defend against such attacks. Her use of telepathy is capable, as she's able to perform mind tricks and even the rare power of illusions. While not as potent or destructive as the illusions cast by Darth Zana, Kuro's illusions could be used as a means of distraction. Kuro was also gifted in the healing arts. During a mission alongside several other Jedi, Anya Kuro was shot in the shoulder by a criminal. She was able to use force healing on her arm and heal her arm in a matter of seconds, which is made even more impressive by the fact Ki-Adi-Mundi, her apprentice and a member of the Jedi Council, took much more concentration and time to heal. She was also skilled in the use of Force Cloak, which allowed her to cloak her physical body and Force signature from other life forms for a time. Kuro is probably best known for her more radical and unorthodox powers. During her fight with Darth Vader, she was able to make several plants come to life and grapple around the Dark Lord, tying him up. Kuro was even able to manipulate the Force, where she could phase through solid objects and even teleport. Enough said. This is also a bit tricky to call, but I think I can do it. In my opinion, Kuro is the more powerful of the two in terms of overall power, but when it comes to combative powers, I heavily favor Malgus. While you can make the argument that Kuro's use of manipulating plant life to grab Malgus and trap him could be used, you wouldn't be wrong. When making these videos, I always know that both of my combatants will be on an even battlefield, so there's a chance Kuro could make use of the power. However, I feel that by the time she does it and is moving in to engage, Malgus would have already freed himself and tore the plants to shreds. I don't think Kuro is going to be using her illusions, since they do take a lot of concentration, and she has never displayed the power in combat before, so I doubt she's just going to start now. While Kuro does have the power to teleport and phase through solid objects, I really don't think that's going to come into play here. While I do feel she can defend against Malgus's lightning, and I don't think the Sith Lord's going to be using his Force Maelstrom, Malgus still has far more deadly telekinesis and a much better use of his powers in combat. Darth Malgus gets the edge in Force abilities. I think you all see where I'm going with this. I just want to stress that I don't think Anya Kuro isn't powerful or that she's helpless in this fight. She most certainly is not. Anya Kuro is more powerful than Darth Malgus by a significant margin when it comes to force abilities. It's just that her powers are not really usable in combat, where everything Malgus has going for him is combat-oriented. If you're going up against Darth Malgus and you want to win, you're going to need a skill set that can match and surpass him. You need a very, and I mean very big muscle mass. You need a lightsaber technique that can match and outdo him, and you need force powers of equal, if not greater, destruction. Anya Kuro has none of that going for her. Her physicality does not compare. Her dueling skills, while impressive, are nothing Malgus hasn't dealt with before, and her force powers are just not ready for a combat situation. I would say the best analogy to this fight between Darth Malgus and Anya Kuro would be Darth Malgus' duel with Ven Zalo on Coruscant, with Kuro standing in for Zalo. The two would clash, strength versus speed, but slowly over time, Malgus would gain the upper hand, and the moment Kuro makes a mistake, Malgus would break through and cut Kuro down. I declare Darth Malgus the victor. And thus begun, the Versus series has. Thank you guys for being patient, for waiting. I've really wanted to do this series for a while. One of the main reasons I even started doing a YouTube channel was to do this kind of series. And I'm really happy I was finally able to do it. I know this matchup was kind of weird because I was using very unorthodox and radical characters, but that was kind of the point, was to use characters you wouldn't have expected in the first Versus video. So this is completely unscripted, but thank you to all of you. This is going to be an ongoing series. It takes a while to make these videos, so don't expect them like every other hour, but I'm going to keep doing them as long as I can and as long as I'm interested. Feel free to give battles or ideas in the comments below, and I'll see you all next time. Peace out.